A buy and sell swap gone wrong. That's what Phoenix police tell us this was. Police getting a call about a possible armed robbery just before 2 p.m. Sunday.
Information on the call they received was that there was some type of transaction with a motorcycle.
Police telling us when they got to the neighborhood off 12th Street and McDowell, they saw a person on a motorcycle who they say had a gun in hand.
When the officers got out of the vehicle, the suspect that was on the car immediately raised that gun towards the officers, and that's when the officer-involved shooting occurred.
We've learned that man, who has not been identified by police yet, was taken to the hospital where he later died from his injuries.
Police saying the 911 call suggested the man was trying to steal the motorcycle instead of paying for it. Neighbors here are shocked.
It's pretty scary coming down and you see everything's just blocked off, and there's a ton of police and fire. And so this is just a really pretty safe neighborhood. I go running along the street all the time.
No police officers were hurt during the shooting. 2 officers have been placed on administrative leave pending further investigation. This marks the 29th officer-involved shooting in the Valley so far this year, the 10th with Phoenix police.
Unfortunate that this happened because it makes you think twice about safety and everything, but hopefully it's just a one-off.
Josh Costianto, ABC 15, Arizona.
Right now, authorities are investigating a deadly shooting in Ashtabula County. A spokesperson for the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation tells 3 News that the situation started around 7 p.m. last night when county deputies received a call regarding a man pointing a gun at his neighbors and their children on Tryon Road in Saybrook Township. Deputies say the man allegedly came out of the house pointing a gun at them and threatening them before going back inside. After failed negotiations by the SWAT team, the man apparently began shooting out of the window at the deputies, striking these SWAT vehicles. Deputies returned fire, killing him. Ohio BCI says no officers were hurt during the incident.
Those stories in just a moment, but first we have more breaking news for you. Jackson Police and MBI investigating a shooting involving a JPD officer.
And we now know the person shot by the officer has died. Officers responded to a call for service about a disturbance near Dixon Road. MBI spokesperson Bailey Martin says when police arrived, the person approached an officer in a patrol vehicle and pointed a weapon at the officer. Now, JPD Chief Joseph Wade says his officer deployed a taser.
Upon their arrival, the officer, before he could exit his vehicle, an individual walked up to his car and tried to get into his vehicle on the driver's side. The officer at that particular time gave verbal commands for the individual to disengage. The individual did not. The officer tried to kick him to get him away from his door as he tried to get into the police vehicle. The officer then deployed his taser. The individual was non-compliant. He ran off into the wood line to the right of me.
Now, Chief Wade says the officer tried to tase the man again, but he still would not comply. The officer fired his gun, striking and killing that person. The officer involved did not receive any serious physical injuries. MBI will share their findings of their investigation with the Attorney General's office.
The mother is asking for answers tonight in the shooting death of her son by police. She's questioning officials' explanation as to why they opened fire. Officers say they came under fire and they were forced to shoot back. The night team's Sheldon Fox is at Miami Gardens Police Headquarters now with more. Sheldon?
Sad story, Craig. A tragedy for a family and a streak of violence in this city that's been pushing this police department to the brink.
I just took 2 steps off the back porch and they shot him 5 times.
A mother's pain cuts deep.
I watched him take his last breath.
Angela Lewis lost her son Thursday night after a police-involved shooting in Miami Gardens.
We're scared.
It's scary.
Neighbors' nerves are racked after shots took a 27-year-old man. Daniel Lewis, who also went by Julio Trill, is who was killed, according to his mother. She tells 7 News he was at home when his cousin and others rushed to the family house, driving through a gate and into the backyard.
We're being chased by 3 cars.
Jafari Russell said this all started near the home when he and his friends noticed they were being followed while driving.
Black tinted up cars chasing us.
He says he heard the gunshots and would later learn the people who followed him to the home were police. Then his cousin, who heard the commotion and came out of the house, was shot and killed. Miami Gardens cops say they had no choice but to fire.
They were fired upon, and as a result, our officers went ahead and returned fire.
They say 2 guns were found near the body at Northwest 27th Place near 161st Street. Cops say they were responding to a call of shots fired, something they've been doing a lot of lately. Shootings in Miami Gardens have been so frequent that police have requested help from the feds.
I would like the public to know they should not be in fear because, as you can tell, it was a targeted shooting.
A really loud automatic weapon fire.
It was a little scary.
Several families weren't targeted on this Northwest 196th Street rifle spraying spree 2 weeks ago when bullets flew into homes and cars. There was also this shooting last weekend. No arrests made in either of the prior shootings, dubbed gang-related by cops. But Thursday night's fatal police-involved shooting had nothing to do with gangs.
I just need peace and the truth.
According to a grieving mother.
He has no gang ties, no nothing.
3 were detained after all of this. It's unknown whether any arrests were made. We're live in Miami Gardens tonight outside the police department. Sheldon Fox, 7 News Night.
Man is dead after a police shooting near a Lowe's in Nashua, New Hampshire. NBC 10's Mary Marcos joining us live there with new details about the man who was shot and killed last night. Mary, what are you learning?
Yeah, Priscilla, we are learning more about that man from Pelham who was shot and killed by police here. And while investigators have cleared the scene, they're keeping eyes on this parking lot.
It's just kind of scary when it gets so close to home.
The New Hampshire Attorney General identifying the man shot and killed by police as 41-year-old Ryan Prudhomme of Pelham.
I just feel bad for whoever was related to the guy, you know. It's kind of sad to lose someone you love, even if they're doing something wrong.
It happened around 8:45 last night after Lowe's and BJ's closed.
I saw, geez, that's where I work. This area is usually quiet and it's usually uneventful at that level.
Pelham police tipping off Nashua officers for an armed man last seen leaving his home and later finding Prudhomme with a handgun in the parking lot.
Cops were aware that he was carrying and were aware that something was bound to happen, so hence their response.
You do things like that and in Nashua, you pay for it.
The Nashua Police Department is a very good police department, well managed.
2 officers firing, quote, less lethal munitions, according to the AG, while another shot his gun, killing the Pelham man. Police were not hurt, and they're keeping eyes on the scene.
24/7 hotspot monitoring is being conducted by Perimeter Defense and is accessible by local law enforcement.
They always have surveillance going on here, and they tell you when you drive in here there are surveillance cameras because they expect this kind of thing to happen quite a lot.
Both businesses operating as usual Monday, with the AG assuring there's no threat to the public, but the shooting is prompting people to take pause.
It's unbelievable. Like you never think that it's going to happen near where you live, but I just never expected that it would happen here.
Now, the police officers who shot Ryan Prudhomme will not be identified for another 5 to 10 days, and the investigation into the shooting is ongoing. Live in Nashua, Mary Marcos, NBC 10 Boss.
We start this morning with breaking news. An officer-involved shooting is being investigated in Montgomery County.
We're learning a possible barricade situation is happening at Hampton Point Drive, and it may have led up to the shooting. Fox 5's Melanie Alwick was first on the scene. She is live in Silver Spring this morning with new exclusive video. Mel, fill us in.
Hey, good morning, guys. So the barricade is no longer active, but there's still quite a number of police here. Montgomery County Police as well as Maryland State Police. Maryland State Police are going to be handling the investigation into the officer-involved shooting. What exactly happened that led Montgomery County police officers to feel like they needed to discharge their weapons, fire at a suspect? Now, this all started around 11:40 last night. The caller said that his brother is violent and paranoid, and then that caller at some point jumped out the window saying that his mom and brother were still inside and that they'd heard gunfire. Brother was shooting the gun. Somehow the mother got on the phone with police and she said she was not hurt, but she confirmed the gunfire. So Montgomery County Police then called for the emergency response team to come out. We also have, you mentioned that exclusive video, and you'll see some of the response there from somebody here in the apartment complex sharing this exclusively with Fox 5. And you can see those heavy armored vehicles coming into the apartment complex on Hampton Point Drive. We're in the Fairland area of Silver Spring. We see officers walking into the apartment building with shields. We don't know at what point they encountered the gunman. We do know that at one point he did call dispatch and say that he wanted to come out and talk to officers and was advised to put the gun down and come out with hands up. But again, this is just transmission that we're hearing. We don't know exactly what happened between the officers and the man when he did finally come out. What I can tell you is Montgomery County Fire and Rescue, sometime around the 2 o'clock hour this morning, did call in a transport to MedStar Hospital, saying they were bringing in a 30-year-old male suffering from multiple gunshot wounds that were received in an altercation with police. And again, the commander here on the scene confirming to Fox 5 that this was indeed a police-involved shooting. We are standing by. We do know the public information officer for Montgomery County Police has arrived on scene. We believe that Maryland State Police will be sending their own PIO as well to let us know how this investigation is going to unfold. But that is the situation here right now. We do not believe at this point that anyone else was injured, but we're still working to get details on that as well.